Hi everyone and welcome back. So today's video is a quick part A build for the 2-pounder pom-pom anti-aircraft gun for the Class Corvette that Revell make, and this is an upgrade kit from Great Little Ships. You will obviously need to follow the diagrams. So we're making this here. It's interesting to say the least, and I think that it's going to have to be built in stages. So the first part is going to be me making the turntable and uprights with the main part of the gun. So I've cut out most of the parts that I need. I think I've cut out all of the parts actually that I need. This in turn, what I'm going to do first is make the pivot for moving the weapon up and down. Now this is made out of 3 parts laminated together, and what needs to happen is 2 of the parts have I don't know if you'll be able to see. Oops, had a heart attack then, thought I might have lost it. Right, I don't know if you'll be able to see, but just here there's a line which is part of the detail on the pivot, the vertical pivot. So it's made of 3 parts. Now there's 2 like this. There's one on this side, and then there'll be one which goes on the right side, and then the one in the middle has no decoration on it. So you need to make sure you get the one in the middle done. I'm using Gorilla Super Glue gel to bond these together, and I haven't done any other prep on these 3 parts for the simple reason being that I'm going to glue them together first, and once they are glued together I will then sand appropriate to, or file the appropriate sections to remove any tabs that came off with the when I cut it from the sprue. And that one. So these I've done first in order to give them some time to set, basically, as I don't have any activator. So they glue together, and then what these do is they will form underneath the gun like that, and that will be the tilt vertical pivot for getting the elevation on the gun. So with the gun itself, you've got this cast piece, and it basically needs to go this way up. There's a square block on the back which is proud, and that needs to be upwards. So the first part I'm going to glue on is this piece, and this piece was folded in 4. So this formed a side, this is the top, this formed a side, and then this is the underneath. Now, I've had to find some photographs online to help with positioning, and from what I can tell, this is where it needs to be, basically. Just there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some on the top, some on the bottom at the front, which is where that piece with the split in it goes, and then just some on the sides like so, and then I shall slide that back on like thus. Okay. So that's the first bit. Now, the other bit I'm going to do that needs laminating is the turntable base, and I had a little bit of trouble trying to decide how this went together, simply because we've got some pieces like this, and I couldn't decide whether these were supposed to be bent at a 90-degree angle or not. So it was a little bit difficult trying to ascertain that. But having looked at it, I think they just go on top of each other like so, and then get glued to this like thus. So I'll do that one at, in fact I will glue these two pieces together first. Now there is some markings, some slot markings on this one. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but there are some grooves in there, and they correspond to the top laminate piece. So there are some slots in this one, and this is relevant to the attachment of the upright supports for the weapon mounting and placement of the front shield. So that then goes on top of there like thus, which and that's positioned as best as, and then this whole assembly gets laminated onto this. And then that is the base of the pedestal, basically. Okay, so now that that's had a chance to dry, what I'm going to do is so some super glue, and then this center pivot. Which goes in there. And then what we're looking for are the side mountings. Now, from what I can tell, the side mountings go on like thus. With this line that's a line there here which runs parallel with the top of the gun, from what I can tell. And then it's just a case of marry that up on the other side. Now, something you need to be aware of on this particular item, at the bottom, again I don't think you'll be able to see that, but at the bottom here there was actually a triangular piece of brass which you needed to cut free and then basically bend it to a right angle so as it stood right up. And then there was another bend which bends it in against the frame, and that forms part of the strengthening on this particular item. I don't know if you can see that. Be very careful because I actually broke one and I will need to super glue that in separately. But that's something that you need to be aware of on there. So let's aim to get that the same. Right, and that looks to be identical. So another thing that we've got is this ammunition box here. Now what you need to do is bend the sides down, but then also bend this part of the ammo box which has the impression of the ammunition on it downwards there, but then also this particular flap once you've bent it down, this is actually out this side, so you need to bend that 180 degrees on itself, and then when that's glued in place, it sits by the shield like that. So I won't actually glue that in place until I'm ready to put the shield on. Now what should happen is that should sit, there's two slight protrusions and they should sit in those slots on there. Now one thing I haven't done is figure out which way these, there's two parts here, and I'm not entirely sure which way round they go because the instructions are not 100% clear, but I'm hoping that I can have that rectified when I come in to put on the additional items in the next build video. So what we're going to do is pop the glue on there, and then marry those up. And that is the start of your pom-pom. So the gun shield will obviously go on the front at some stage, like thus, and the ammunition box will attach to the side like that. But for now, that's about as far as I'm going to take it. There's a lot more fiddly parts coming, such as the handles for turning and elevation, and the foot plates, etc. Alright, hopefully you'll join me for the next one. Take care. Bye.